Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We've got another PvP update for 10.1. We've got some tuning, and we've got some new abilities and some returning power to existing abilities, which could shift up the meta for your class and specialization. So definitely one that is worth checking out. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with changes related to World of Warcraft, entertaining and educational content, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So the first round of changes here are targeting Demon Hunter and specifically the Throw Glaive ability. Serrated Glaive will now cause enemies hit by Throw Glaive to take 20% increased damage from Chaos Strike in addition to its current effect, and Accelerating Blade has been renamed to Accelerated Blade. Accelerated Blade will now cause Throw Glaive to deal 60% increased damage, up from 20%, and its damage is reduced by 30% for each previous enemy hit. So very curious to see how this ends up playing in PvP for Demon Hunters, given the fact that Chaos Strike is a big portion of their damage outside of their burst. Previously, Death Sweep was a lot of it, so this might introduce Chaos Strike as more of an option to build for. Definitely interested to check it out onto the PTR build. Now, the big first change for PvP is this one right off the bat, where in the last update, we saw changes to the stamina value and primary stat value. They're doing something completely different. Their developers note read as, "We are adjusting the bonuses from the PvP set bonus, Gladiator's distinction to be percentage based, so that it will properly scale with new seasons. At the same time, we've noticed battleground fights and arena matches in Embers of Neltharions resulting in stalemates now that critical strikes are doing less damage." This is a big thing to notice on the PvP testing, is because critical strikes, at least in this patch, allow teams to end the game because they can hit an exceedingly high amount of burst damage that healers can't recover. Healers are actually very strong. It's just that you can't heal somebody that dies in one attack. So the tuning here for this patch is going to need a lot of work, and this is kind of like a first signal towards that. To improve the experience, we're reducing the primary stat granted to healers from the PvP set bonus. We are also aiming to give healers more opportunities to survive when being attacked, so we're increasing the amount of stamina healers receive from the PvP set bonus. This could be really problematic. Gladiator's distinction now increases primary stat by 25% and increases stamina by 5% for damage dealing and tank specializations. So you're going to get a 25% primary stat to deal damage. Healers are only going to be getting a 15% primary stat increase, and although a 15% stamina increase. So killing the healer, probably not going to be an option. So what healers really benefit the most from this? Probably Restoration Shamans. I'm trying to think like which healers are ones that actually get attacked, because for example, this doesn't matter for priests. Priests almost never get attacked. Druids, maybe you get attacked a little bit. It might matter for you. Holy Paladins, you get attacked quite frequently, so this probably helps you. What other healers really get attacked? Maybe Mistweaver Monk, possibly with the extra stamina. But this is a really concerning post, because this is basically going to be dictating the pace of the game at this point. We're a couple weeks away from the patch, and this basically means the game is slowing down a lot. And that's what happened in Shadowlands when they applied the same type of stamina increase and reduced the critical strike values in Shadowlands, is that the game just went complete dampen fest. Whatever classes were the tankiest ended up being the best. So you really, if you're aiming to succeed, and that ends up how the patch is going to be, you want to pay attention to the classes that are the most difficult to kill, because it's just going to be about, can you survive longer than everybody else if damage isn't able to exceed healing? And maybe that sounds like, well, how can you say that? Healing is so hard right now. And again, I've already said healing is hard because you die in one attack. You're not going to die in one attack anymore with the changes to stamina and the reductions in critical strike, which means you're probably never going to die. This is very dangerous territory. I don't really know if this actually solves that. We're going to have to wait and see, I guess, moving forward, but this is actually kind of a troubling update for PvP. Now, some new talent changes for classes. For Blood, Decomposing Aura is going to stack up to 4 times, down from 5. Guardian Druid's Grove Protection is now going to reduce damage taken by 50%, up from 40. These, you're still probably just never going to play this. Dire Beast Basilisk is getting buffed by 100%. This was a PP talent introduced in Legion for Hunters, where you summoned a giant basilisk that slowly moved to a target and chomped them. But previously, or at least since Legion, I want to say like BFA onwards, It hasn't done any damage. It's just kind of like walks around. And he's like, I'm an alligator, and he doesn't really do any damage. So a buff to this does mean that this talent is likely going to be more viable. It could switch up compositions as well for Hunter. Comps that focus on gripping targets towards the Basilisk, like maybe Death Knights, Ursul's Vortex, this type of deal, to make sure that the Basilisk is getting uptime if it is doing significant damage. For Flame Cannon for Mage, Flame Cannon will only apply to enemy players and NPCs. Pets and summons will no longer cancel the stacking effect. That's going to be important because there's a lot of pets and summons. Now, Warlocks. Warlocks getting a lot of cool stuff in 10.1 and likely could be one of the most powerful specializations given how durable they are, right? Between Affliction with Drain Life and Demonology, which is passive tankiness, and even Destruction's kind of passive tankiness. They're likely going to be, forerunners for being strong in this patch. So what's going on here with them? Soul Rip. Rip souls are fractured up to 20 yards, up from 16, and now cost 1 soul shard. So this is the talent where you can rip a soul out from somebody, and I think they do less damage and receive less healing. That's going to be a really important mechanic. If critical strikes are no longer viable, stamina is really high for keeping pressure on the field and doing damage. Call Observer PvP talent, Demon Health, has been increased by 100%. Range increased to 30 yards from 20, and its cooldown decreased to 60 from 90. So Call Observer is the summon an eyeball into the sky that shoots people when they cast spells. It's like a Counter-Strike totem for casters. So they're making it a lot more tanky, a longer range, and a lower cooldown. It's also going to be doing 10% of a player's max health, up from 5. That is huge. This thing is like mandatory into casters. This thing is probably going to be really tanky, given 100% health increase. And 10% of a player's maximum health is a lot. You cast 10 spells, you're dead. Okay, that's going to be pretty dangerous. Although it's competing with a lot of other valuable talents for lock. Now, you're not going to need to get precognition anymore because that's going to be baseline on crafted gear. So possibly you could slip this in. You're only going to take it against casters, though. Now, for Rapid Contagion for Affliction specifically, also these are available to all Warlock specs, I should say, it looks like, at least, because Affliction is down here. So you might be able to rip souls even as Destro or Demonology, as well as Call Observer. So for Affliction, Rapid Contagion PP talent, duration has decreased to 10 seconds, down from 20, and now causes damage over time effects to occur 45% more often, up from 33%. So just a faster row of ticking dots. I'm trying to understand this one 100%. So doesn't that mean that your dots just fall off faster but do more damage? Is this something that you're even going to be able to take, given how global cooldown starved you are as Affliction? I'm leaning to the side of probably not, if that is how it's going to end up working. And then finally here, Bodyguard PvP talent is now going to have a 20-yard range requirement, up from 15 yards. So wait, is this a buff or a nerf? What is a requirement? That makes it sound like you have to be 20 yards away. A little bit hard to read this one, honestly, because like, does that mean you can't press it unless you're 20 yards away, or does that mean that you can gain the damage reduction from up to 20 yards away? Kind of difficult to read this one. Big buffs here for Warlock and Hunter, most certainly, and this kind of change to trinket bonuses. I feel like this primary stat, the change to percentage base, is just kind of like, we don't want to have to manually increase the stamina in primary stat every patch, so we're just picking a percent so that we don't have to do that every time on a patch, is what it seems like. And then increasing the HP on the healer is them saying that healers are dying a lot, which maybe on internal I mean, when I did a couple of testing rounds with the play with the Blues, I was targeting healers quite a lot, and that was before the stamina increase, though. But the stamina increase, I don't know. Like, this might be unnecessary. Again, don't have like a knee-jerk reaction to this, because I think the damage pacing is going to be completely different than the first patch of Dragonflight without critical strikes being so high. That healers are likely going to be really powerful. The game is going to be very slow. So it's going to be completely different ball game, I would imagine, since this most recent update, and I definitely want to get on and test more. So if you want to stay up to date with the changes and see what's going on with Dragonflight 10.1 and onward, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I will catch you in the next one.